time. But if you were to take thousands of these simulations and take the average kind of features in each of them, you'd start to see patterns emerging. And this guy's got some modules which enable us to find these patterns. And we're now in the process of adding those into these kind of things. The idea being, again, to give the scientists running the simulations the kind of stuff they want to see. It's 12 o'clock. I've got about another 40 slides here, so we just skip them and show like, oh, this is a nice animation here, because this one was done by someone else. Here's really nice. This is called vortex shedding. Here you see the flow coming in, and then these vortex regions spinning off. I mean, there's lots more data there, but you've only taken the contour of the bit they're interested in. And you see these shedding, and then this enormously complex turbulent behavior there. And if you think on an atmospheric scale, if you can model these kind of turbulent effects down to the scale of individual pixels on a huge atmospheric simulation, then you start to be able to predict local weather conditions, predict different things. All this kind of stuff is useful and interesting. And I will... Oh, I mentioned particle stuff. I'll just quickly show a couple of slides for this. We've got a bit of time, haven't we? These kind of things, the astrophysics guys, they use particles a lot for their simulation because they've got such huge domains to work with that it's not, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not cost effective in terms of CPU time to do everything using a mesh. If I do that and I just skip, why does it not jump from the place where I put the mouse? Anyway, you're probably all hungry. You should go and have some lunch.
Not that hungry, to be honest.
This is another one of, how do I make a show from this slide? I want to go from that, don't I? Yeah, there we go. This is the same data, but with a different view. These, again, are all done using things like PowerView. We use PowerView for everything now, pretty much, because we can handle huge stuff. I'm going to skip through. I've got a couple of animations of, yeah, this one. Skip that. Nice picture. That made the front cover of a magazine. Black and white, but it still looks quite nice. I didn't do that. That was my boss. Okay, this is what I consider to be the gold standard. This was done by Americans. This was done at San Diego Laboratory. This is a massive simulation of a fire, and I just think it looks amazing. And I showed this one at the talk I gave at the university here at UC because this is the kind of thing which we really want to be able to do. And now we're just getting to the point where we can do it here as well. And it just looks great. And so that's why it's there.
What's the cube that is going around? Is that...
okay. I think you'll find this actual simulation is just a kind of test. So there's a cube, it should be a tank, but they can't give us those animations yet. This is like a block. Here's a fire. They want to study how the heat is transferred from the fire to the object. Like how quickly will the building catch fire? How quickly will the tank get too hot inside before you all just die or whatever? How long can you... Anything they can... I mean, they've got some... I've also got a lot of very nice data coming in, which... yeah, this is what's going on now. This is a jet from one of those hydroelectric ones where the pipe comes down. Here's the jet. Now, what they want to do is put a bucket here. They want to know what the pressure is. This is a particle simulation. The difference to particle simulations is there's no mesh anymore. There's only particles. And where the pressure's high and the density's high, there's lots of particles. And where the pressure's low and the density's low, there's no particles. There's no calculation going on in this region, and there's lots of calculation going on in this region. This becomes implicitly more difficult to manage because when you've got a mesh, you know that this node is connected to that one. So when you do a finite difference or a finite time or a finite volume calculation, my calculation is X, I take the differential of all the nodes around me, and now a new number is that, and then you just march through the simulation. Here, particles can go whoosh, they can fly off over there. Now this one interacts with that one, and this one interacts with that one, and this one interacts with that. So you've got this constantly evolving tree structure with all the particles moving around inside it. Much more difficult to manage the data, but in theory, computationally more efficient. The bad news is that it's also computationally much less accurate. And that's why people are running test cases like this. Because when they get the accuracy of these test cases up to the same as the old-fashioned CFD, this is mixing. More pictures of mixing. Skip that. Got anything else? You've just seen... that's not very nice, that one. Here's a nice one. Measuring, for example, you work in a factory and you want to sort all your pills, or you want to, you've got all your different coloured objects coming down, they're coming down conveyors, you want to see how they're mixed up. I don't actually know why this simulation was run, because it's kind of strange.
For fun?
It made a very nice picture. I like the animations, but I still don't quite know why. What it is they want to know at this point here.
Maybe they just wanted to throw a screensaver.
Yeah, exactly. This is more interesting. This is actually the injection of diesel fuel into a piston. And the way the fuel mixes, this is the first simulations they've started doing of mesh-free ones on buckets. There's still a lot of inaccuracy. This one is a diesel injection into a piston. What they want to see is how the fuel and the air mix. How, I just showed that one. I'll skip that one. The rest of it's all rubbish. Oh, there's some chemistry things at the end, but I won't go into those. We'll have lunch, and thank you all for listening. Any questions?